Hello everyone and welcome to Fitness Reloaded. I'm your hostess Maria and this is the very first episode of the A Year of Habits show. So I've been thinking about doing something like this for a while. I know so much about habits and I encounter the same questions over and over again from people who either want to start exercising more, eating better, and people who want to pretty much create any type of habit, like maybe you want to be a writer and you want to write more often, or you want to have better relationships, so you may need to create some habits related to that. So there are all sorts of habits many of us want to create. It's January time, so this is a time when many of us want to create those habits. The problem is many of us don't know that we need habits. We just set goals, and our approach to get into those goals is not always habit-based. It's whatever-based. And it's not our fault that we do that. We do that because nobody teaches us a better way. So hopefully during this year in 2016, we're gonna cover quite a few misconceptions and also show how you can be more successful. So if you're gonna put in the time, you might as well have a habit-based approach and succeed. Okay, so in this first episode, I want to talk about how to fail-proof your goals. Okay, so the reason many of us don't achieve our goals is that we fail on our way to getting from A to B. So if we could fail-proof our goals, we would kind of make sure that we arrive to point B, right? So here's how I failed my New Year's resolution last year. And if I had done this process that I will talk about you today, things would have been different. Let me first talk to you about the process, and then I'm gonna talk to you about what happened to me a year ago. Here's what most of us do with goals. You have a goal, so you know what point B is. You're in point A, you come up with some sort of plan to get to point B, and then you start executing. What we rarely think about is obstacles. We don't think about the obstacles that may get in our way as we go from A to B. So, in other words, the plan we make is partial. It doesn't cover everything, and most likely it's optimistic. It's super optimistic, overly optimistic, okay? And that's why projects tend to take longer than we initially accounted for. It's not because something weird happened, it's because we miscalculated when we made the plan of how to get to point B or how to get this project done. For instance, let's take a small goal. Let's take, for example, the goal of getting to work on time. If you don't account for traffic, which is an obstacle that may come up, then you may arrive to work late. You may blame it on traffic, but the truth is that you should take responsibility. You could have accounted for traffic. Now, this is fairly simple. It's a fairly simple example. Now, what happens when, let's say, we have exercise as a goal? Let's say you want to exercise regularly. This is your New Year's resolution. There are many things that need to be accounted for and that you may not take into consideration. So let's say you create a plan and you're like, I'm gonna attend this yoga class 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, what happens if you often get late at work, so you don't have enough time to get to the yoga class? That's an obstacle, something you will need to account for because it may happen. And when you get, when you have to stay at work longer and hence you skip your yoga class, well, that was kind of expected. And if you haven't thought of a plan B before it happens, before you get into this situation, what will most likely happen is you will skip your yoga class, you will just exercise less, and you're putting your plan in jeopardy. Because the more you skip classes, the more you feed self-doubt. Like, this is not working. Okay, this is not working. Why am I even doing this? So you're increasing your chances of giving up, all because you didn't sit down at the beginning and think about possible obstacles. For example, in Exercise Please, which is a habit-making system that targets people who would like to exercise but tend to start exercising and give up, but now they're ready to change. Anyway, so in this system, one of the very, very important things that we do is the habit journal. So every week, in the weekend, I make people foresee obstacles. So for example, if this is a week where you know you'll be on business travel, it's highly likely that your routine will not work exactly as it usually works when you're at home and you're not on business travel. So you need to come up with a plan beforehand so that your routine continues seamlessly as you go on business travel. Or if you know that your in-laws will be visiting, that's also a change that may affect your routine, so you gotta account for that. Or if you know that, let's say on Wednesday when you're supposed to exercise, well, this particular Wednesday you have a company event to attend, this is also something you need to think about. Okay, so these are possible obstacles that if you sit down and fail-proof your plan, when the obstacle arises, you will already know what to do. You will be prepared, okay? The obstacle will not be something that startles you and, just makes you not do what you wanted to do. It will be something that was kind of expected. You will know what to do and it will be not a big deal, okay? That's the difference when you fail-proof your plan versus when you don't fail-proof your plan. So here's what happened to me a year ago. My New Year's resolution was to work between 60 and 70 hours every week. Now, I know you may disagree with my New Year's resolution. Many people were like, oh, why do you want to do that? You will burn yourself out, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is what I wanted to do. And guess what? I didn't burn myself out. I actually enjoyed it. I felt a sense of purpose, a sense of mission, and I was excited, and I really, really liked what I was doing. The problem is, I didn't sit down and fail-proof my plan, okay? Well, I did kind of think about the possibility of things not going my way, but I didn't really sit down and do detailed work and think, okay, A, B, C, D, E situations may come up and they may deter me from my momentum. How will I deal with them if they happen? Okay, so I didn't sit down to do this type of detailed fail-proofing. So what happened in my case was that when my efforts did not bring the results I planned to get, I started having self-doubt. And self-doubt started making me indecisive, not knowing what direction to follow next, and I was also kind of feeling quite blue because my plan had not worked out as I initially expected. So I stopped working as much because I didn't know what direction to move to, and since you don't know like the exact direction you will move to, then what are you gonna be working 60 to 70 hours for? But if in December I had sat down and thought about, okay, I know what I'm gonna do, and what if the situation happens, I would have already pre-thought what the new direction would be, so I wouldn't have had this problem, okay? When things wouldn't go my way, as it happened, I would already know what the next step would be. I would already know the plan B. So I'd be like, okay, this did not work out as expected. These are the positives, these are the negatives. This is the direction we now take immediately, bam. And we continue working without losing any momentum. But yeah, I didn't fail-proof. So this obstacle deterred me from doing what it is that I wanted to do. After having this experience and realizing that it was lack of fail-proofing that led me to not completing my New Year's resolution, I have started including fail-proofing in every plan. Because think about this, if you don't fail-proof, then you kind of depend on luck, okay? And hope. I hope my plan will succeed. And you know what? It may actually succeed, especially for short-term goals. So if your goal is to arrive on time, and indeed there's no traffic, so luck may favor you. You arrive on time and good for you. But with long-term goals or even lifestyle changes like exercising more, eating better, well, obstacles will come up your way. So I know you may not want to think about obstacles when you first set goals and you're excited about them, but fail-proofing, so if you sit down and think, how can my plan fail? List all the ways that may stop you in your tracks, may delay you, may just put friction in what you're trying to accomplish. Just make a list. This simple task, okay, of making a list of possible obstacles and then making a second list with possible solutions to those obstacles. Then you'll be like so prepared, okay? Obstacle, come. I know how to deal with you. I have no problem with dealing with you because I'm prepared, okay? That's the value of preparation and of fail-proofing. Okay, so now I want you to leave a comment. Tell me how you're gonna fail-proof your goal, okay? Tell me what your goal is and how you are gonna fail-proof it. And if you have any friends who you think might dig this video, please share. This is my very first episode, so any word of mouth will help. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye bye.